About just a couple weeks ago now, we got back. There's a team of 20 of us that traveled down to Tijuana, outside, actually on the outskirts of Tijuana, Mexico, to embark on a project that is not new to Friends Church. It's something that's been in the works for many years, an annual pilgrimage of sorts. Team traveled down and got busy. We built a home in a very short amount of time for a family, a beautiful family who's really just under the boot of poverty, fighting, trying to eke out a meaningful life. And, over the course of 5 days, we built this home and then turned over the keys. And, what we thought would be great. We've done a lot of different things over the years when we've done these trips. Rarely have we allowed the team to be able to come up and share their stories in different ways. And so this morning, we're gonna take the morning, actually, to share with you. Many of you partnered with us to make this whole thing possible. And so we thought we'd love to take you down there with us through our storytelling and through video and everything, to allow you to see and feel maybe just a piece of what we watched and the beauty of taking water. So I thought it would be great to kick off the morning with a video that was shot by Leanna. Leanna is the daughter of Gregory, who leads one of our bands here. She captured a point of view of the sights and the sounds and the things that she witnessed that touched her about this trip. And it's moving. I think you'll enjoy this. People asked me recently how many years we've been doing this. Where did this all begin? And I think our first trip was around 2005. But the vision of this thing started before then. I think actually it was given birth around 2004 when we began telling a story. It was a story that has become a mainstay here at Friends Church of a landowner. This landowner, he owned a lot of land, but he discovered a natural spring of water on the land. It was just bubbling up. So much water coming out. So he had staff build a well to capture that water. In a very short amount of time, this landowner had more water than he could ever use. And as he used this water to feed his herds and water his fields, the guy prospered. The guy became incredibly wealthy. The village around him watched as his wealth grew. Someone was brave enough one day to ask if he would share some of his water with them. And they found out very quickly that this landowner was a very generous man. He said, "Of course you can. Come." And in fact, this landowner said, "If you know anyone that needs water, you tell them to come. They can have as much water as they need." Soon the word spread of this man's generosity and the water that was available to everyone. And they began coming from all over, bringing pails and pails, whole family members. And they were pulling this water, the joy that came within the community in a very short time as they all began to experience the blessing of this man's water. And as a result, the entire village began to prosper. Not just the man, not just his fields, not just his herds. Everyone began to be blessed by this man. One day, though, business calls and the man needs to relocate his family. He keeps the land, but he wants to keep going what he's watching within this village. So he puts some community leaders in charge of the well and says, "Let's keep this thing rolling, shall we?" And he moves away. But within a very short amount of time, arguments began to break out among those community leaders. There was a fear that they might run out of water. And so now they're talking rationing. There were some who didn't believe that certain people, based on where they were coming from and their past history, should be allowed to have access to the water. Well, these arguments started breaking out, and before long, they began building a wall around the well to kind of control who was allowed in to get the water and who wasn't. And over time, the walls got larger and larger. And in a very short amount of time, the village began to look different. Once again, showing signs of drought. the happiness, the buzz in the community began to drop. Word got back to the landowner that something had happened and things were not well back at the ranch, at the well. So he sent his son to investigate. He says, go and check out what's going on. The son shows up and he cannot believe how different everything looked. He's like, he goes running to the site of the well, and there is this massive, it almost looks like a fort, like a castle. He can't believe it. He goes walking around the walls, finally finds a door, starts banging on the door. The door's open, and he's looking at these people on the inside, and he's going, what are you doing? This is not what was supposed to happen with this wall, with the well. That was supposed to be shared. My father intended for that to be available to everyone. People inside the walls were looking at this gentleman, realizing, oh my gosh, we lost sight of this. They kicked open the doors. They began carrying water outside. They began telling the village, come on in. Come, get as much water as you want. And very quickly, the buzz began to rise again. The excitement growing that once again, water was going to be available to all. But you know, there was some of those community leaders inside the walls of that castle that were not happy about what was going on. In fact, all of a sudden, the fear started kicking in. And before long, they began conspiring. And they have the son killed. Snuffed out. Very quickly, the doors lock. Everything goes back to exactly the way it was. With those within the walls having more water than they would ever think to be able to use. And meanwhile, the world around them suffering. Now, we started telling this story back in 2004. And we told this story specifically to say, this, sadly, from our perspective, is a story of what has happened within religion in our world. Where you have these massive groups of people coming together with incredible resources, skills and talents, money, time, energy, passion. They have all these resources, but they're walled up. And they're very selective about who gets to share in the spoil, where their energy gets spent. Mostly, it gets turned inward to those inside the walls of the castles. We tell this story to say we must not ever become a church, a community that gets holed up in the walls. We gotta be looking beyond the walls. So we've been doing this now for, started telling the story, and within a very short amount of time, a student leader, along with a bunch of students, said, oh, we want to take water. This isn't just the adults that get to do this. We want to do this. 2005, a bunch of students raised a bunch of money, and over spring break, they jumped in a couple vans, and they drove down to Tijuana, and they built a home for a family. And in a very short amount of time, they said, we may be young, but we can take water. And so this year was an extension of the legacy that began 20 years ago. And we've been talking about this. Sometimes it's hard to even imagine what all it looks like to go down and build a home in like 5 days. It's really like a double garage, if you can imagine. Built the size of a double garage. No, we're not quick enough to put electricity or plumbing in. It doesn't look like that. 4 walls with a sturdy roof that's weatherproof, that's stuccoed, has 2 locking doors, which is probably the most valuable thing a family in that area needs, with some windows. But it's hard to explain all that has to happen to make that happen in 5 days. Here's a video that Amy built, and it shows you the ins and outs of what this project took to make happen in 5. the team hadn't really seen that video yet, so I'm sure it's interesting to watch how it all came together. Hey, this is only about half of our team. We don't have time for everyone to be able to report back everything that went on, but I want to thank you guys for being here this morning. There was others that couldn't make it. Thought it'd be great to just have them kind of share their own personal slants and experiences on this trip. Maybe I'd like to start with Reese. Maybe Reese, can someone hand her a mic? Oh, why don't I hand you a mic? Here, there you go. Reese, you didn't really know anyone on this trip very well. You had met some different ones, but not very close. This was also your first time leaving the country. Pretty big experience, nerve-wracking. What were you hoping to experience by signing up?
I really liked the opportunity because I'd be able to see like 2 places in the world at once, and I would be experiencing what Mexico is actually like and not like what you see on TV, like the beautiful mountains. Like you'd see the people. You'd see more of the world than what's like put on TV.
Right on. Thank you. Jonathan, you're new to Friends Church. How long have you been coming to Friends?
For about 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
You heard about Mexico, and you went, "Yep, I'm going. I'm in." Why?
Well, I really wanted to help this family, take them out of poverty, 3 generations, as you know, and I also wanted to get involved with the church and be part of the community and learn how to take water in a tangible way and a not so tangible way.
Yeah, for sure, that happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kelly, in the back row, you and Marion, your sister, signed up for this trip, but there were a lot of questions on the front end, a lot of maybe apprehension.
Well, Tijuana is not your regular vacation destination when you go to Mexico. And I'm a news reader, so I was aware of that. And Marion and I also brought up the average age on the trip slightly, so I was also concerned about that. But what a fabulous experience.
Let me ask the group, and I don't know who would want to chime in, the hardest thing about this trip to you?
Sleeping in the tents, on the ground.
That was hard. That was a hard assignment, John.
That was the only hard thing.
Yeah. Someone else?
Well, on the first day, I was very excited to get to work. So I picked up a shovel and I started shoveling on cement day, and I was not expecting to be sitting there for 5 hours shoveling gravel. I don't think I can ever look at a shovel again.
You should have seen the size of gravel that gets shown up on site, and Colby literally, like, there was a number of people shoveling, but we took down this whole pile and realized this is only part 1 of 2 big piles that we needed. So halfway through the day, they unloaded another pile, and there was Colby shoveling away. It was an assignment. Yeah, well done, buddy. Well done. Anyone else want to weigh in? Yeah, Amy?
I think for me, the hardest part kind of started before going on the trip, was just choosing and making the intention to say, you know what, I'm going to put everything else on pause. I'm going to leave my 2 little girls at home with dad, and I'm going to just take off for a week and like choose to do this. So just kind of the mental, like, okay, this matters, so I'm going.
Wow,
right? So that's the hardest
huge
part
sacrifice there too, both on your part and on Joe's part, running the show back at the ranch too. Yeah, major. Georgia, where are you? Yeah, you know what? I was hoping, Georgia, you could tell us a little bit about the family that we helped.
Yeah, so Sanaida and her husband were the top of a 3-generational family. They had 5 kids and 7 grandkids. And Sanaida and her husband were living in just a little 1-room house, you could call it, with no windows or anything. It was pitch black in the house. And they wanted this house so their grandkids could come over and have sleepovers and stuff, because that was really valuable to their family. So this house brought the opportunity to bring the whole family together, which was really nice.
Dylan, you've been on a number of trips now. How many?
I
Whoops.
think this was 6.
Number 6. You've watched over 6 trips how, an investment like this in a home for a family could impact them. Because we've gone back and we've visited families in the past. Can you share a little bit about what this actually can mean to a family who gets a home like this?
Yeah, it's an incredible thing. It gives them the safety to be able to go to work and not have to leave somebody at home in order to protect what they've worked for already. It gives them the opportunity to send their kids to colleges and universities. One of the years we built for our translator that comes on with every year, and his brothers and sisters became, one's being a lawyer, and Marlon himself is now a principal
Yeah.
of a school. And these are the things that we're able to provide when we go and build these homes.
Yeah, I don't know if that was clear, but Marlon, our translator this year, was actually one of the kids of a family that we built a home for, who now is a principal of a school and worked as our translator, has been working as our translator for a number of years now as a team whenever we come down. You begin to realize you build a home for a family, and the money that they would have otherwise been scrounging and putting together for years to be able to build something like this now gets to be diverted in ways to actually help a family thrive. Yeah, so amazing. Leanna, you spent some time with the family, actually a lot of time with the kids. Can you talk about that? What you noticed in the lives of these kids, personalities?
Yeah, the kids are just always so open to relating with us. Like, we're automatically friends and so eager to help even when they don't know how to do it. And they learn and try again, even though we had to go over the stucco all over again. It's really important to have that aspect in there. And it's just amazing how close you can bond even between the language barrier. Like, you can't understand each other, but you're playing together and making jokes, and it's just so precious. Yeah.
Georgia, I noticed I wasn't on the trip last year, but we went back and visited Nellie, the mother of the family that we helped last year. And I could tell it felt different between Nellie's family and perhaps Sinaida's family this year. Anything you want to share around that? Is that true?
Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, the connection I had with Nellie last year was a connection I don't think I'll ever have with any family we go on the trip with again, just because it was so special. I think part of it has to do with it being my first trip. Like, I feel like that did leave an impact on it. But I don't know. And I don't know. The connection was really nice, and Nellie is someone who, like, inspired me, and I still think about her every day. So yeah.
And Sinaida and her family, how would you have described the difference?
I wouldn't describe their families different, other than like there's little kids and stuff, because Nellie's family also had generations, like they had grandkids and stuff who lived like just next door. But aside from just like the family being different people, I think the connection was really the only difference.
It changed the feel, perhaps, of the project. Maybe, Jaden, you could speak to that. Jaden, this is my son, Jay, who's been on the trip now for how many years? 14?
13 or 14.
14. You've watched so many different family scenarios that we've helped. Some feel very warm and fuzzy. Others don't feel perhaps as much. Does it change, in your mind, does it change the significance of the project? Does it affect things?
I don't think so. I think one thing I try to do is put myself in their shoes. We're a foreign group that comes from, privilege, walking in and seeing what they've scrounged up for themselves, and they might not really feel comfortable with a group of people they don't know walking into there, and they might not know how to really show their gratefulness and their gratitude. So for us, I think it doesn't matter how close we get. We know that this is going to impact their life, whether they show their gratitude or not, and whether it's a very close emotional bond throughout the trip or not. It's I know what kind of impact it's going to make, and I think this whole group kind of understands that. So.
I could tell how serious everyone took this, this whole project to be able to make that home so great. Jay, you were saying that this is probably one of the nicest builds we've had.
By far, yeah, one of the nicest homes that we've ever been able to build. Cleanest and looked unreal.
Wow, I thought it did too, actually. At the end of the week, we did the key ceremony. Actually, I think some of the stucco work that I did probably was to tribute that. I'm not sure.
Never helps you sleep at night.
We got to the key ceremony. Everyone's shaking their head. We got to the key ceremony at the end of the week, and whether you were someone who had connected with families in the past, for new people on the trip, watching all that go down, hard not to just watch that and not feel something. Amy, I was watching you. What was going through your mind watching that family as we turned over the keys?
Well, I guess the best way to describe it is just kind of describe the family. Like, it's been touched on that Senada was this very strong and stoic person. We didn't see a huge amount of emotion from her throughout the week, and then you could see the little snippet of what you saw in those videos. You can see her and her husband having some tears, and it's kind of funny that now when I was looking back and making that video, every time I watched those little bits, and I'm probably too emotional, but I just start crying because you can just see this huge impact, and I don't think they really could articulate it, but you can see it in their eyes. You can see how important it was, and how maybe the word is relief, that you could see this relief in their eyes, that they were like, oh my gosh, we can relax a little bit now, maybe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've said all along, we've been saying it for years and years and years, Mexico is a real tangible water project where you can go down and in 5 days so tangibly change a life. The question was always, for everyone that doesn't go down to Mexico, what does taking water look like? Because we have some people are saying, it sucks because I'll never be able to go on that trip, just the way my life is situated, or this or that. And I think sometimes people can start to think that maybe taking water is for those that get to go on trips. So I wanted to ask, because we've chatted about this a lot as a team. Now that you're back, life goes back to normal, you go back into your own little worlds. What does taking water look like for you now, beyond Mexico? Anyone want to jump in on that one? Ruth?
Yeah, for me, I'm an early childhood educator, so I work with preschool age children on the regular basis. And for me, taking water looks like modeling the compassion that we show when we're doing this, and encouraging the children to also have that compassion for other living people, and understand that it's just circumstances, and there's nothing really that changes the little boys in Mexico's worth versus my little students. And yeah.
Thank you. Someone else, what does taking water? Liana?
I have two things, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay.
No, not at all. No, of course.
Yeah, number one, playing on what Ruth said with the compassion is just, it's a huge reminder to just stay open to people you meet, like strangers that you meet. Like, oftentimes we walk around just kind of closed off because it's easier to people who may be struggling with things, and it just reminds you of our shared humanity, and to just be open and respectful and compassionate towards everybody. And two, it's like, I feel so blessed to have a job that pays for my apartment and all my groceries and everything, and all my needs are met, and I have extra time. So it's like taking water to me is like sharing my gift with the world and just doing everything I can to take the inspiration and feed it back through my passions, because my survival is taken care of, which is a privilege for sure.
Thank you, Leanna. Someone else, Dylan.
I think one thing that this trip does provide you, it opens your eyes. Sometimes we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of the world that we stop looking for people that need help, and it can be that person in the grocery line that's maybe a single mother, and she's putting things back because she can't afford it. Offer to pay for those things for her. Old people walking across the street. You can really find the impact of every day, and that's when this trip, when you go down, it opens my eyes up again every year, because sometimes we need that reminder.
Jonathan, you were pretty quick talking about your kind of water now that you've been back.
Yeah, certainly. Hello?
It's okay. Just keep talking.
Does it work? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? It's not as tangible as it was in Mexico, but I find myself more aware of the people around me and starting up random conversations. I spend a lot of time in an elevator because I live in a high-rise. I spend a lot of time in waiting rooms for health appointments and stuff. And there's always somebody there, but often it's just an awkward silence. So instead of that, I start up conversations. Like, for example, the other day I was in the elevator and this guy had a really cool guitar bag that looked like it was made in Mexico. And I complimented him on it, and he said, "Yeah, it's really cool. I got one that matches my banjo as well." And I said, "Holy smokes, you play the banjo?" So we started a conversation, and I know that we walked away, like, I don't know, it was only 20 seconds long, but it changed the mood. It was like there was a connection there. And I think for sure that the next interaction he would have with another person would be a positive one too, and it just spreads like that. So I think that's a way of taking water as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
Is this different for you? Doing these kind of things, starting up these kind of conversations?
Not really. I've always wanted, I'm not a really shy guy, so I do start up conversations, but I'm making making a point of it now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that awkward silence in an elevator. It doesn't have to be like that. And you can touch someone.
Right.
You know? And be touched back.
Absolutely.
That connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's cool.
Thank you, John. Anyone else want to jump in? Yeah.
I think for me, it's really kind of just like setting up your life and slowing things down in a way that gives you the capacity to notice these opportunities, right? I think we can get so like just siloed into our own little lane and going, okay, I need to make this much money and I need to do this and I need to do this and I need to go on that vacation and yada, yada, yada. And just kind of slowing down and going, hold on, like, let's broaden the focal lens. What kind of matters in our world? And, you know, can I set my world up so that there's space to be able to take the water, right? To be able to even notice those opportunities.
Love it.
Right?
Love
So
it.
kind of slowing things down.
Yeah. Thank you, Amy. Last one. Kelly.
Sometimes giving water is uncomfortable. Sometimes there's discomfort there. And I think on this trip, you know, there was definitely moments of discomfort for me. But I got to be a part of this trip with this fabulous group of people and make this major impact. And so I will push myself through the discomfort going forward.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well, you guys, I want to thank you. Thank you. In a week, felt like I got to know you guys so well. This was such a blast. And it was wonderful being able to make a difference with all of you. We as a team, we want to say thank you to all of you who helped in so many different ways, grease the wheels financially, finish up and to give toward the project. as a community, we were able to make a difference through Project Mexico. So you can give yourselves a big warm round of applause, will you? Yeah, thank you. And thank you, you guys. I'll let you go. I'll take that from you. Awesome. Yeah, if you don't mind. We're going to, before we wrap up this morning, I want to invite Ryan Doggart and some members of our Switch leadership team. Actually, Ruth, why don't you come up and join us? Ryan, come on up. Is Karina? No, she's not. Oh, is she? Oh, okay. Okay. No, that's great. That's great. We have a bittersweet kind of farewell that we want to do today. Why don't you guys come around here? That's great. This is Ryan Doggart. Many of you, oh, good. His wife, Karina, and little Emmett can come and join us for the moment. Well, Emmett's happy, so all is good. Let's see. Ryan has been involved in Switch for the past 3.5 years. He took over from Carmen Cocott, our former student pastor, and took over Switch right really in the middle of the pandemic, which for anyone that had kids at that time with the pandemic on, probably one of the toughest assignments we could have ever given. But for the past 3 years, Ryan has been sowing into our Switch ministry, and him and Karina are going to be moving. They're moving to Nova Scotia. And what's that? To be farmers, yeah. It's an exciting opportunity. You guys jumped at it, and we're thrilled for you to make this change. Obviously, we're sad because it means that you know there's a hole left behind, and what you have done here is not easily reproduced. But I've asked Trevor, one of the volunteers that has worked alongside Ryan, actually throughout his whole time, to share a few of his observations of Ryan while he's been here.
So this was, it's been a privilege. I've got to sleep with dinosaurs. I've got to run obstacle courses. I've gotten to do Neanderthal poetry, all because this gentleman's actually taken the time to do that level of preparation. So I thought about all the different events in over almost the 4 years, and it's a little bit crazy who was talking about getting outside your comfort zone? Way outside my comfort zone so many times in terms of that. But then I thought more about who Ryan is, and if you've had maybe the privilege of interacting with him, and especially if you've had your kids in Switch, you know that Ryan really cares, like really cares. He creates a safe environment where people can come in and feel comfortable. He wants to get to know you. He puts so much time and energy in because it's right from his heart. And that's not going to be easy to duplicate, but that has been a really neat thing for me to watch. Is like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm grumpy, and then Ryan's like, okay, let's go, and we're doing something. I'm like, man, you really are putting the juice in. So man, it's going to be, we'll miss you. We're looking forward to visiting him every time we're in that part of the world. We're going to come see what the farmers are doing. But man, you've been awesome in Switch. Thank you so much.
I know as soon as we announce that there's going to be a big shakeup within the staff, the question quickly becomes, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? Who's taking over? And I'm excited to be able to share that we've put together a really exciting team and plan. And a large part of it, Ryan and I started talking early on, just kind of saying, well, how do you see, like you're stepping back, but is there anyone in the wings, anyone that you think could probably help in the meantime until we put everything together? And I'm excited because one of the first names you brought up was Ruth. And Ruth Stutz, who's been a part of our community. Ruth, since you were itty bitty, like way, way, way back. And been a part of Switch your whole life, actually, since you've been at that age. And so, anyways, I wanted Ryan to be able to share a little bit about Ruth and what you've seen in Ruth as she's been volunteering alongside you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ruth. This amazing woman here, not only is she an amazing friend, but she also truly, truly cares. She started volunteering like as a volunteer for Switch in 2019, shortly around the same time I started volunteering for Switch. And she's been consistently there like every single Sunday, giving her energy and spirit to the youth of Friends Church. So yeah, it's in good hands. Just a little bit about Ruth. She is an amazing individual, and not only does she believe in the mission of sort of Switch, the mission of Friends Church, she also has like the strength of character to imagine more than that. And so I have no doubt that exciting things are coming for Switch, and that your passion, your caring heart, and your no BS attitude are going to bring some really special things to Friends Church and to Switch. So thank you for everything that you do. Yeah.
It's yeah. We're excited. So there's leaders that have been kind of saying, "Hey, I'm in. I want to surround Ruth." There's been parents that are saying, "I'm in too. Let's keep Switch moving. Let's keep it growing and heading in the right direction," because junior high and senior high students, they need an opportunity for a community that will ignite them around taking water to their world, about living in a way that makes a difference. And so I'm excited that Ruth understands this. I'm excited about the team. It was interesting on this trip, actually, there I watched as a number of members of the team who now are thinking about university and different things. They're all going like, "Hey, Ruth, you need a hand, I'm in. Come on, let's go." And they're excited to be able to rally around you. Ruth, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for believing in what we're about, seeing the vision of Switch and wanting to make a difference. And so we're in good hands, really good hands. Ruth, would you like to be able to share kind of what's in your heart about Switch?
Yeah, so I was told that I was going to talk, and then I was told I wasn't going to talk, and now I'm told I'm going to talk again. So bear with me, as I don't like public speaking. No, like Jeff mentioned, I grew up at Friends Church. I have been a member since 2003, and I'm the still only active member from my family. They all played their roles and then bowed out, and I stuck around. Yeah, I'm very excited for what Switch is going to be and how it's going to grow and continue on. I look forward to the opportunity to working with parents as well as the youth, of course, and really enforcing the community aspect of Friends Church.
Thank you. You did it. You did it. I knew you could. Excellent. Hey, look, this brings our service together. Ryan, we wish you all the best. And if you have a chance to chat with Ryan and thank him after the service, please do so. Thank you to all the Project Mexico team that were here today and sharing your story, and all those that are maybe sitting in the wings that were part of the trip that weren't on stage. Thank you to all of you. And folks, may we never stop kicking the doors open and pouring our pails full of water and taking them to our world. May each of us think deeply about what our water is this week. May you leave this place today going, how open am I to the needs and the opportunities that are right in front of me? And would I put myself out? Would I push myself out of the comfort zone to do something? I hope you will. May we be a community that always takes water. Have a great week, everyone.